Okay, good afternoon, guys, and again, welcome to my channel. This is your Prof. Zeus, and for this afternoon, we'll continue our discussion regarding accounting for long-term liabilities such as bonds. Okay, so what we have discussed so far are the issues on how much to issue the bond. Okay, and we already discussed the effect of effective and nominal interest. If there's a difference between effective and nominal interest, how will it affect the issue price of the bonds? Okay, now. There's another way on how bonds are, the issue price of the bonds can be calculated. So instead of using the present value factors of the discount rate or the effective rate, there's another way, that is through percentage. Let's have an example. Okay, so here we see that AEG issued a 1 million 6% 5-year bonds at 105. Now, when the price of the bonds is quoted at this way, this is actually equal to 105% of the face value of the bonds, and so therefore, if we can say that's 1%, 105%, so therefore the issue price of the bond would be what? Issue price would be, that's 1 million pesos times 105%, or this is 1,050,000. So this is another way on how bonds can be floated, or bonds can be sold in the market, with the price or the issue price being expressed in terms of percentage of the face value of the bond, or face amount of the bond. Now, what we have discussed in the previous videos, the bonds were issued during interest payment dates. But is it possible that bonds will be issued at dates, dates other than the interest payment date? The answer is yes. So bonds can be issued in between interest payment dates. Now let's have this example. Okay. Okay. I have added a few information. Say, on March 1, AEG Corp issued a 1 million 6% 5-year bonds at 105, and the bonds pay interest every June 30 and December 31. Now, if we try to make our timeline, so if this is your timeline, let's just use 1 year. So this is the date of the bond. And then this is June 30, interest payment date. And this is December 31st, interest payment date. Okay. So therefore, the bonds were issued on March 1. So March 1. Now, if you would see, March 1 is actually not an interest payment date. Okay, it's actually in between interest payment date. Why? Because December 31 is an interest payment date. So therefore, March 1 is not an interest payment date, but the bonds were issued here. Now, remember, at June 30 and December 31, the company or the bond issuer will issue the check for the payment of interest equal to half year, and this one is also half year. But remember, the bonds were issued March 1, so therefore the money, the proceeds of the bonds were actually used by the company only from March 1 to onwards. So why will they pay for the months January and February when the bonds are still with them? Right? It's not fair for the company, for the bond issuer, to pay for the 6 months when the bonds were actually issued on March 1. So what they will do is, they will first ask the bond holder or the investor to pay for the interest from January to February. Because anyway, come June 30, they will receive the check covering the 6 months interest. So therefore, if this is the case, the issue price of the bond would include the interest that has accrued on the bond from January to February. Let us compute. Okay? So therefore, we have 1 million for the accrued interest multiplied by 6% times 6 over 12. So therefore, okay. So therefore, this is 30,000. Let's show it again. So that's 1 million times 0.06. I'm sorry, this is 2. 2 over 12. Times 2 over 12. Sorry, this is only 10,000 pesos. Okay, so this is the accrued interest or the interest pertaining to this one. Okay, so this is 10,000 pesos because the interest pertaining to the whole of this is 30,000 pesos. And this one is also 30,000. So come June 30, the bond issuer will pay 30,000 pesos. But remember that the bond investor invested the money only in March 1. So he's not entitled to the interest from January to February. Okay? But the checks will contain the interest for the 6 months. So this will be paid first by the investor and then he will be reimbursed for the whole 6 months. Okay? So therefore, the issue price of the bond will be, we'll include the 10,000. So that will be 1,050,000, what we have computed earlier, plus 10,000. So therefore, this is 1,060,000. So this will now be the issue price of the bond. Okay? So what will be the entry for this? So entry would be debit cash for 1,060,000. Okay, and credit your bonds payable equivalent of the face amount of the bond, which is 1 million pesos. Credit what? Credit the premium on bonds. For how much? 50,000 pesos. And the remaining 10 would be interest payable. Okay? So this would be the entry upon issuance of the bond. So debit cash for the proceeds, which is 1,060,000. Debit interest payable for the 10,000. This is the interest pertaining to January and February. Credit bonds payable for 1 million and credit premium on bonds for 50,000. Now, what will happen on June 30? Remember, on June 30, the company will release the first check. Okay, so what will be the entry on June 3? So entry on June 3 would be debit, interest expense. Now, remember, the interest expense only pertains to this one. Okay, so that's going to be 10,000, 1 million times 0.06 times 4. So that would be 20,000. And credit, debit, of course you have set up the interest payable here, and now it's time to pay, so debit interest payable for 10,000 pesos and credit cash for 30,000. Okay, so if you look at interest expense, okay, if you look at interest expense for the first 6 months, there was a debit of 20,000, and this is the only interest expense. Okay, for the interest payable, it was first credited when it was issued for 10,000, and it was debited for 10,000. So there's no interest payable. There's no interest payable anymore. Okay? Now, what will happen on December 31? For December 31, when the company will pay another interest on the bond holders or bond investors, they will just have to debit interest expense and credit cash for the whole 30,000 pesos. So you would see the effect is only on the initial payment of the interest. Okay? Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you again in my next videos regarding accounting, financial accounting. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.